A Missouri judge's ruling this week contributes more time to those seeking gender-affirming care in the state. Hello and welcome to Ozarks News Brief. I'm Dylan Durrington.
And I'm Ryan Smith. This comes as the restrictions issued by Republican Attorney General Andrew Bailey would have gone into effect last week. St. Louis Circuit Judge Ellen Ribadow paused the restrictions for 2 weeks as she takes more time to consider legal challenges. The judge has set a hearing for May 11th to hear from trans Missourians and healthcare providers. A gold medal flower plant in Kansas City, Missouri is linked to multiple salmonella cases across 12 states. General Mills recalled 4 flower varieties last week when contamination was suspected. The recall included 2 and 5-pound bags of bleached all-purpose flour with better if used by dates of March 27th to March 28th of 2024. So far, 13 people have been found sick with 3 people hospitalized. No deaths have been reported.
Over the next few weeks, Springfield city leaders will discuss a number of items related to the city's proposed $496 million budget.
This year's budget is about $50 million more than last year's, with increases across the board. Our own Jade Morrow is standing by at the Springfield City Hall with the very latest. Jade?
The Springfield City Council is holding a series of budget workshops over the next few weeks. This budget will focus on the impact of inflation, employment recruitment, city council priorities, sales tax, and much more. The budget workshops will allow the City Council to discuss and approve the budget before the new fiscal year begins on July 1st. The Springfield City Council hopes to come to a final agreement for the budget on June 5th. To stay up to date with the budget workshops, visit springfieldmo.gov. Reporting for Ozarks News Brief, I'm Jade Morrow.
Thanks, Jade. Meanwhile, Missouri lawmakers in Jeff City have until 6 p.m. Friday evening to approve the state's budget.
Earlier this year, Governor Mike Parson called for $50 billion in total spending, which is a 5.3% increase from last year. Ozarks News Brief reporter O'Shayla Muldrow has been following this story. She joins us with more.
In the area of education, the budget adds $275 million in capital improvement projects at public colleges and universities like Missouri State University. The budget also sets aside $250 million in a rainy day fund for public and charter schools and aims to fully fund the transportation costs for K-12 students. Other budget highlights include expanding I-70 across the suburban areas of Kansas City, St. Louis, and Columbia. There is also a pay increase budgeted for state employees. In the area of healthcare, the budget proposes $88 million for treatment and support for those living with disabilities. And in public safety, the governor is asking for $15 million to help MoDOT purchase safety-related equipment. Also on the table is an income tax cut plan, which has received mixed reaction along party lines. The new fiscal year starts on July 1st. Reporting for Ozarks News Brief, I'm O'Shayla Muldrow.
Some U.S. households may want to hold off a little longer before making a major purchase. On Wednesday, the Federal Reserve announced its 10th interest rate increase since last March. This comes as the nation inches closer to the debt ceiling deadline. John Lawrence reports.
The Federal Reserve's fight against inflation is not finished.
The strains that emerged in the banking sector in early March appear to be resulting in even tighter credit conditions for households and businesses.
The central bank voted unanimously to boost interest rates by 1/4 point on Wednesday. That brings the federal funds rate to 5.25%, a high not seen in over 15 years.
My colleagues and I understand the hardship that high inflation is causing, and we remain strongly committed to bringing inflation back down to our 2% goal.
Another financial matter still hovering over Washington, D.C., the debt ceiling crisis. According to the White House Council of Economic Advisors, the U.S. could lose more than 8 million jobs and cut the stock market in half if the country breaks its spending limit. President Joe Biden and most Democratic lawmakers want it raised without any spending cuts.
Our view about the path forward remains the same. Can't choose the Default on America Act, must avoid the horrors of default, pass a clean bipartisan bill to avert default.
But some Republicans say Biden needs to hammer out a deal with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy.
The Speaker of the House has been sitting at the grown-ups table for months, waiting for President Biden to act like a leader.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
President Biden has invited House Speaker McCarthy and other top lawmakers to discuss the debt ceiling at a meeting scheduled for next week. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says the U.S. could default by June 1st if it isn't raised by then. Some major changes are coming to Missouri State University in the months ahead.
The university is undergoing a realignment where several programs are being merged, with faculty and staff finding themselves in new roles. Ozarks News Brief reporter Jackson Wolf is standing by at the MSU College of Business and has more. Jackson?
The university is currently undergoing a major realignment. This is all due to budget cuts, personnel changes, and an overall low student enrollment. The university says that the realignment won't affect students all that much, but it will affect how the university is run on an administrative level and also how the overall budget is set. This realignment is just a small part of the university's 2-year transformation plan, which aims to support current students and also grow in enrollment. MSU President Cliff Smart is set to make more announcements on the matter in the coming weeks. For Ozarks News Brief, I'm Jackson Wolf.
Thanks, Jackson. Up next on Ozarks News Brief, these Mo State Bears are inching closer to the NFL. A shocking discovery inside a McDonald's in Kentucky, and 41 Texas immigrants arrive in New York.
We'll be back after the break. You're watching Ozarks News Brief. McDonald's states it is deeply troubled to learn their Louisville, Kentucky chains put a pair of 10-year-olds to work, and without pay. A Labor Department investigation into 3 franchises found 305 children worked more hours than legally permitted. Investigators say some children worked until 2 a.m., one of which was permitted to use the deep fryer. The fines for the 3 franchises are more than $212,000. A 71-year-old St. Louis man is facing multiple charges for allegedly shooting police officers during a wellness check. Officers found the 71-year-old in the bathroom. As they lifted the man to his feet, the 71-year-old opened fire, injuring all 3 officers. The alleged shooter, Curtis Mabry, is being charged with 1 count of armed criminal action, 1 count of unlawful possession of a firearm, and 2 counts of assault. A shooting in an Atlanta hospital leaves 1 person dead and 4 others injured. The shooting occurred inside of a medical center waiting room and ended up injuring 5 people, all of which were women. Atlanta police arrested the alleged shooter, Dion Patterson. Patterson evaded police for 8 hours before being arrested. Patterson now awaits his trial.
Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott sends a bus of 41 migrants to New York City this week. Commissioner Manuel Castro, who works with New York Mayor on Immigrant Affairs, says if Title 42 is lifted next week, the city could see closer to 1,000 migrants a day, which he says is not sustainable. Title 42 allowed authorities to turn away migrants at the border due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Republican lawmakers in North Carolina are proposing a ban on abortions after 12 weeks. Democratic Governor Roy Cooper opposes the legislation and may elect to veto it. The current law enables women to seek an abortion up to 20 weeks into their pregnancies. Republican leaders assert they will continue to permit abortions past 12 weeks under certain conditions such as rape or incest. Hollywood writers hit the picket line this week, many of them concerned about the industry's shift towards streaming services. Jeff Gwynn spoke to some of them along Sunset Boulevard.
Fist up, pens down, LA is a union town!
Along Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood, countless stories are not being told because film and TV writers like Daniel Rogers are on strike.
It's been difficult.
He was a staff writer on a Netflix show that wrapped in the summer of 2021.
And I haven't worked on a TV show since then.
He picketed outside the offices of Netflix after labor talks between the Writers Guild of America and the major Hollywood studios broke down. Some of the sticking points have been over pay and residuals for streaming content and the use of artificial intelligence. Many writers say the work is inconsistent and that streaming shows tend to have fewer episodes than network TV, which means fewer paychecks. It's the first time WGA members have picketed in 15 years.
During the last strike, after it was over, I didn't work for 3 years, to the point where I drove a forklift.
The Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers says the AMPTP member companies remain united in their desire to reach a deal that is mutually beneficial to writers and the health and longevity of the industry. And the studios have pushed back against the union demands as the industry faces budget constraints, pointing to the recent layoffs at Disney and Warner Brothers Discovery. Many writers say streaming has altered the way they make a living because writers' rooms are staffed with fewer people, which means less opportunities to grow.
The middle class of writers has fallen out, and it's become harder for people like me to move up the rungs of the entertainment industry.
It's spring, but it seems Michigan didn't get the memo. People in Michigan are digging out of a snowstorm on the first few days of May. This snowstorm has caused widespread power outages and several car accidents. The Marquette Sheriff calls this the worst type of snow because it's heavy and wet, making it very difficult to drive in.
Ryan, I can't believe the weather is still snowing up north, and here it is almost summer.
I know, Dylan. Like I said, I can remember times in spring break in high school around March where we'd get some snow and it'd be crazy because it was later into the spring, but nothing ever into May, so.
Absolutely not. It is wild. Here's a look at live traffic from Kansas and Chestnut Expressway, thanks to our partners with ozarkstraffic.com. We've had some nice weather this week. Will we see the same heading into the weekend, or will showers be on their way?
We'll be back after the break. You're watching Ozarks News Brief.
It looks like some stormy weather is approaching the Ozarks here this week. Ryan, do you happen to have any plans going on this weekend?
You know, Dylan, I was hoping I'd get outside, go golfing, maybe grill some hot dogs, but from seeing the looks of the weather, seeing all these showers coming in, it looks like it's going to be a weekend inside for me.
Definitely looks like the weather is not par for the course. It looks like today's weather is going to be 67 degrees, cloudy skies. By 3 p.m., we're getting to that 70-degree temperature range here. And then 8 p.m., it looks like the downpour is starting at 63 degrees. Rain is just coming down, and as you can see in our southeast corner here, coming into Missouri, we've got a lot of showers approaching us. Definitely going to be feeling that this weekend here. You want to make sure you have a lot of plans stocked up at home, activities to do here. Our 5-day forecast shows us that Thursday being rainy at 69 degrees. Friday, it's going to be 78 degrees, still some showers, but hey, a little bit of sun peeking out there. Saturday, 86 degrees, definitely getting warm again, feeling that summer with that sun in the sky. Sunday, rain again, with the sun peeking out at a mere 85 degrees, 1 degree lower. Then on Monday, we're getting 83 degrees, but it's still raining with a little bit of sun on the horizon there. So yeah, golfing, I wish I could do that too this weekend, but I'm afraid I can't with that weather.
As you mentioned, looks like it's going to be a weekend indoors. But up next on Ozarks News Brief, 2 Missouri State Bears sign with the Kansas City Chiefs. The Springfield Cardinals have a new identity coming soon, and we have the latest on women's golf.
Stay tuned, you're watching Ozarks News Brief.
We start with big news out of Missouri State as 2 football standouts have invaded the NFL. Montrez Braswell and Ty Scott are signed as undrafted free agents to the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Braswell received First Team Missouri Valley Conference in 2022 as a defensive back and return specialist. Meanwhile, Scott led the team in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns in 2022. Swinging into baseball, the Springfield Cardinals revealed plans for an alternate identity for a home series in May. The Springfield Cashew Chickens will be on display Thursday, May 25th to Saturday, May 27th. Fans can get their exclusive Springfield Cashew Chicken merchandise now on the team's online store. Fans can also enjoy Springfield-style cashew chicken served at Hammons Field concessions during that time as well. One of this generation's most prolific quarterbacks has officially found a home. Lamar Jackson, the QB with the speed of a receiver and agility of a running back, has signed with the Ravens. Fans are happy to hear their MVP starting quarterback is staying in Baltimore. Jackson signed a 5-year, $260 million contract with $158 million guaranteed. Missouri State's women's golf has swung their way to a conference championship victory. The Lady Bears held the line all match, crusading to a strong victory over all their conference opponents. With the victory, the Bears will take a coast-to-coast flight to regionals in San Antonio, where 6 out of the 10 Lady Bears will compete.
Coming up next on Ozarks News Brief, what went down at the Met Gala and why is this star's younger brother in hot water? Also, at last, Jamie Foxx breaks his silence and sends a special message to his fans.
All this and more after the break. This is Ozarks News Brief.
Monday night was the night for A-list celebrities to show off their iconic fits on the white carpet. From singer-songwriters to professional athletes, this year's Met Gala did not disappoint. The first Monday of May was circled on every celebrity's calendar. That was the day to serve major looks and bring the drama. Jackson Mahomes, brother of NFL MVP Patrick Mahomes, was arrested this week in Johnson County on sexual battery charges. All this comes after court documents show he faces 3 counts of aggravated sexual battery and 1 additional count related to an incident on February 25th. The incident was captured on a video inside a bar. Mahomes' next court appearance is May 11th. English singer-songwriter Ed Sheeran has promised to quit the music industry if he's found guilty of plagiarism. The singer has been taken to court by the Marvin Gaye estate. The estate claims Sheeran copied one of Gaye's biggest hits, Let's Get It On, in his song Thinking Out Loud. The jury deliberations are currently underway. Oscar-winning actor Jamie Foxx released his first public statement after being hospitalized for nearly 3 weeks with a medical complication. Fox reportedly became ill in Atlanta on the set of Netflix comedy Back in Action. On April 12th, his daughter announced his hospitalization, and yesterday Fox posted on Instagram thanking Nick Cannon for his kind words and blessings. Coming up on Ozarks News Brief, one teen goes above and beyond when making his appearance at the prom. Find out what he did that had mouths on the ground.
Stay tuned, you're watching Ozarks News Brief.
Forget the limo, a teen in Washington State took his dream ride to prom, a tank.
This is how Sherman Bynum made his entrance at the Camas High School prom, in the turret of a World War II tank. Bynum's date, on the other hand, decided she would just meet him at the dance, but that didn't get Bynum's spirits down. Bynum says he plans to top the tank entrance at next year's prom by skydiving to the dance.
Skydiving at the dance, huh, Ryan?
I mean, I don't know how you can top a tank, so we'll have to, I'm sure next year we'll be doing a new story about him flying into prom, so.
Absolutely, people are going to be giving him a lot of tanks. That's going to do it for us today here. I'm Dylan Durrington.
And I'm Ryan Smith. Thanks for watching, and remember, you can always follow us at ozarksnewsbrief.com. Have a great day.